Hey everybody, it's me Nina, and today I'm going to be coming at you with a video regarding something to do with, pardon me, which is advice giving people a chance. Now, in this day and age, it's not usually that most people will hear anything advice with give people a chance, in the way that when we've had a bad experience with somebody, we'd often feel understandably upset and skeptical of one so, and therefore we don't really have any thought that comes across our mind related to we should give that person a chance to see how they improve. But I'm not saying that it's not dead in our society, but more so I don't think has really been said too much in society from my own point of view. And I just want to make a video about that today, since I think it would be nice I think it'd be just awesome or amazing to hear from somebody of a younger generation, just giving out advice that's just completely common sense. And I think young people, I think when you know these kind of common sense as a young person, it can give you a very good benefit in the future as you grow older and older and older. And thankfully I understand how these folks at a young age, and I think if you want to progress it more, we need more people our age to listen to them. And yeah, so, to start with, at least several times in our lives, we're going to, well, I mean, at least we hope not, we have, or we would have, I'm not saying it's going to happen, but it could happen, it might happen, or, I mean, it could have happened before, and I've been there before, I've had it happen to me before, and it's really bad, We've been involved in incidents, and perhaps it could happen, let's hope it doesn't, where we would trust somebody, we would find somebody who we like, and that person likes us in return, more as we have a good friendship with them, or a good connection with them, and we start to build trust towards them, and they ended up tarnishing it by perhaps they would be spreading rumours, or just started hating on you for no reason. But I'd be here all day to discuss what kind of bad they could do. And understandably, we would feel upset, because I don't think that there would be any possibility where we would not feel upset. And when we feel upset about, when somebody disconnects trust from us, starts talking, garbage behind our back, it's going to cause us more pain. And by the way they're doing it, they're informing people around them incorrect information about you, in which the unlikely and the worst case scenario, and to be honest, most painfully, it has happened to people before, where we would go up to those people who have been told lies by the person, told lies about you, and going up to them, they'd end up being rude to you, thinking that you have done something wrong when really you haven't. It's just the person you don't trust who has spread lies about you is really in the wrong, and has just decided to make a bad image of you by spreading rumours, and that's very, very bad. It's wrong. And if you're somebody that spreads rumours about somebody, if you're somebody who tells somebody else lies and literal filth about someone who's nice to you and they've done nothing wrong, then you should be ashamed. Okay, you should be ashamed. It's very horrible of you. It's disgusting. It's putrid. It's vile. And I think it can work in different, the outcome of how they can unveil the truth is that if you were to try to explain to them, or just tell someone about it, just, talk to somebody who you could trust, or somebody counselling, whatever, somebody that you have the privilege, or if anybody you can trust that actually trusts you, and you could show evidence as to how they were doing it, and therefore they'd explain to them of what's really happening. And so, yeah. And after, when that person who told lies about you leaves you alone, and after, if they ever step a line or go too far, you'll often feel resentment towards you. And understandably, you'd be feeling upset and thinking very angry thoughts, which I don't blame you for. And in the long run, when you feel upset about somebody, you'll often, well, obviously you'll have resentment, but it's more that you can't feel like you want to trust them again. Now, you know, we may know it or not know it, but most people change, and that's the good path. People will choose to change and own up for what they've did, whereas painfully there are people out there who won't change, and that's the worst case scenario. People that don't change, are the ones that are are truly problematic. And I can sorry, I can understand that. It's horrible when a person that you hate has done something bad towards you, doesn't change. That's the painful part. And but a good thing to happen is that they could change and own up to you. And so in this scenario, this person has took time to think about what they did, and they got what they deserved, and they decided to change. Now, this only depends, on what bad they did, Now, if they were a nonce, a paedophile, or a rapist, then they do not deserve to be forgiven. But if it's something as minor as, talking lies about you, well, not minor, talking lies about you, or being rude, or bullying you, then I think that can vary. Well, a lot of times, if people really did consider what they did wrong, for a thing that's minor that could so easily be forgiven for in that sense, then, when they think about it so much, to the point where they're like, well, I'm going to apologise to that person, not do it again, because I know that I see them as a good person, and I never want to hurt them again. And I suppose, and they go up to you and say, look, I want to apologise to you for being this and this, and I really do want to change. So more like they're showing true honesty, and at first you'll often think to yourself, well, I'm flattered by this. And I think there are people out there who have different reactions to this. People will often be like, well, I don't want to forgive you, look what you did. And that's the understandable part, And I think that whilst there's a thing called forgiving easily as well as holding a grudge, there is a thing in between. Yes, they have apologised to you, and you can forgive them after that, but I think to start with, until you can rebuild your trust, you should listen to them and give them a chance, whether you feel wary or not. Because even if, you feel wary of them, that's more understandable because of what they did, and what they did was wrong. But the fact that they want to reconcile and say sorry for what they did, they're just showing that what they did was wrong, and owning up for it, and therefore they want to improve. And the one thing you should, and one thing that should come out of this on your side is that they would apologise, but instead of just holding an actual grudge completely, or just accepting them straight away, unknown of what, accepting their apology straight away and trusting them straight up again, you can accept their apology, which is the right thing to do, because why hold a grudge when there is potential to allow to see what that person has been doing? Given of how sincere they sound, it's better to see, if they've improved, because by the sound of their words, they do sound sincere. So the best way to go is just to see if they've changed, and perhaps the worst case scenario is that they haven't changed and can't learn, and therefore you can just end it right there and say, no, I don't want to be friends with you again. But because they were sounding innocent and said, look, and they're being innocent and saying, look, I don't want to cause trouble, I'm just sorry for what I did, and therefore I want to change. We can't, as human beings or as creatures in this world, can't read minds. So we can't know if somebody's being truthful or not truthful, and we know that holding a grudge, or just straight up trusting them again without any warning, is just being, well, it's basically making up assumptions and judging them. And so the best way to do is to do neither. Don't hold a grudge, even if you feel the need to. Don't just straight up trust them. Don't straight up trust them immediately because you know what they're going to do next. But instead, give them a chance and see where they're going, and just to see if they've changed or not, and give it some time. Give it like a few weeks or even a few months, depending on how long you feel. But at least don't be very harsh to them. Just at least give them a chance to see if they've changed or not changed. And just give it some time, perhaps a few weeks or a few months. Just not too long. Well, it depends on how you feel. Just give it like a few months or a few weeks, depending on how it is. And that person may feel, to your, reaction, disappointed that you're going to give them a chance for a few weeks. But then again, if that person should be grateful, because the worst case scenario is that they could have just held a grudge against them forever. So yeah, you should give that person a chance. And I understand why you don't want to do that. And I can understand that as well, because we don't read minds, we don't know what that person feels, but it's a fair way to go. And even if we have our own bodily autonomy, our own feelings and our own autonomies, it's good to give people the benefit of the doubt. Because then, whilst we have our own feelings and people trust us as well, we just know that by agreeing to the fact we should give them a chance is also listening to their feelings. In the sense that because they sound honest, because they are like that, we should just give them a chance. It's more like listening to them whilst, and the way they sound as if they're listening to you and have improved. So really, it's just being fair and not judging them by character, because people can change and people cannot change. And so, to find out if they can and cannot change, we need to give them a chance. Yeah. And that's the way to go. So just give that person a chance and just see how things go. Now, things can differ. The worst case scenario, like I've said, can be that they do not change. And the best case scenario is that they can change and own up for what they've done. And that's something we can hope for, is that they will change and that we can build trust with them. Now, the reason that it would be a good thing that they should change, that they would change and say sorry and we can trust them again, is more that because there's somebody that are actually acknowledging that they're wrong for causing you pain back in the day. And one of the many painful things we can feel as humans or creatures, because I think animals feel like this as well, is that when we know that someone's done horrible harm to us, done horrible things to us, and never apologised, it can feel very much the same as somebody leaving salt in your wound. And that feels painful. I know how it feels. Like, there are times out there, and I've been involved in incidents where the person has hurt me, has done horrible things to me, and I feel angry about it, and yet they never apologised about it. And the fact they never apologised about it makes me angry still. And oftentimes it leaves me in a pit of doubt, and therefore I grow ever so depressed of how this world works. It's horrible. And when somebody shows remorse for what they've did, that's just showing that they are sorry and acknowledging that they're in the wrong for doing pain to you, and that they know exactly how you feel and therefore want to improve. And that's what we can hope for. Now, in this scenario, this person has changed and you've accepted them, accepted them, they've changed, and you can trust them again. And I think trust, it can take time to rebuild, and apologies do take a bit of time to accept, because we can't accept apologies straight away, because these things take time. Because we can't, like I've said many times, we can't read minds, we need to at least kind of give people a benefit of the doubt, just see what happened to that person, and just see where things go before we can really judge them, because then that's just like seeing behind the curtains rather than being judgmental. And the most mature thing you can do, or in other words, the most adult thing you can do, is just kind of see behind the curtains and just not judge somebody by their character. Because in fact, if we give people chances and give somebody a trial to see if they've changed, would be more helpful to us and make us less vulnerable to the demons inside our minds that make people judge, and therefore it makes you a much maturer person. And especially if you're a young person, knowing this kind of common sense and learning common sense as a young person is very imperative. And because when you learn common sense and know the right things as early as like my age or even younger, then by the time you reach your adult era, you would have already known the steps and maturity of what you need to do, therefore giving you a very healthy lifespan. And you could have at least up to 80, 100 years ahead of you with a healthy lifestyle and a good, a good sense of mind. Now, obviously, like I've said, the painful thing is that there are people who don't change, and I can understand that. I mean, we all make mistakes, we all do things we're not proud of, and and to really show that we have changed, as well as to show we are remorseful, is to apologise about it. And yes, people can feel resentful, or people can feel very wary of you, and that's the worst thing, but that person who is wary of you should give you a chance. Okay? And yes, I mean, I make mistakes, I'm not perfect, we're all not perfect. But in the long run, we should know better in future. We should learn not to jump right in at first, jump to conclusions, and not judge. And that includes giving people a chance and not trusting them straight away. And if you've done something wrong, if you've made a mistake, if you've done something really bad, and you just, think about your actions and just think to yourself, was I wrong for it? How does that person feel? And until you've, calmed down and said, look, I'm wrong for this, this was not right, you should go and apologise to that person, because that person was hurt by what you did or said. And if you want a better life, and for people to like you, and for you to feel happier, then you need to show people how you feel, as well as to show them that you're sorry. Because by telling people that you're sorry means that that person feels much better knowing that other people can change, and you're making a difference for yourself and that person. And acknowledging that you're wrong, as well as to admit you're wrong, makes you a human. And those are the people we need in this world. And also, for somebody that gives people a chance, giving people chances is the right way to go in the world. We need more people like that in our world. Okay? Now, I'm going to end the video off here because I'm going to have my dinner, which I think is ready in a minute, and I need to have a rest because I've been working all day, and I'm starting to feel tired after explaining so much, Yeah, so I hope I got my points across, and I hope you guys have found that helpful, and please drop any criticism if you have in the comments. I'll be more than the merry to help. And yeah, so if you guys want any advice, or if you want to drop any experiences down below, please, don't feel afraid to. I'll be, I may not reply instantly, but I'll make sure to reply to you folks if you want to have anything to talk about, or if there's any experiences you want to share, please drop them down below, and yeah. I don't explain that twice, actually. But yeah, so thank you very much for watching, and I hope, again, you found it helpful. Please drop any criticism down below. Share this video if you can. I mean, that'd be greatly appreciated. And yeah, I hope you're all having a nice evening, day, or morning, evening, wherever you are in the world. And just have a good one, okay? Just keep safe, and safe travels. And yeah, thank you for your time, and have a good day. Thank you. Bye.